Hello everybody, I hope you survived last week's exercise. That was really particularly brutal. I struggled with it too, and what you don't see on that side of the camera is all of my attempts on the cutting room floor of playing that pattern from last week, the alternate string pull-off with the displaced emphasis. Today, I wanted to give some of you beginners and some of you who are early on in your banjo journeys something to work on that is very similar, and it will be a whole lot easier because we can remove the pull-off. That pull-off made that pattern extremely difficult, I think. Very difficult to emphasize the pull-off note. So today, I'm giving you a simple double thumbing pattern, and we're going to displace emphasis on this double thumbing pattern. Anybody who's been spending any time with the banjo and has at least a basic double thumbing pattern down that's really good and accurate on your inner strings should be able to do this at the slower tempos. As we ramp it up, of course, it gets more difficult. So let me show you the pattern we're going to play. Grab a banjo. I am tuned to open G. See if you can play with me. Here we go. All right, let's just start off with the basic pattern. It's going to be a downstroke on the open third string, then a fifth string, then a downstroke on the open first string, and then a fifth string. So nice and slow, it's going to sound a little something like this. Of course, let's get that up to speed and then we'll start displacing emphasis. Now, if you can't get that accurate and you can't get it that fast, stop the video here and go back and work on it. Don't progress until you've got that down, until you can get that nice open third string sound and the open first string sound and get all of those notes, all four of those notes nice and balanced in terms of volume, time, and intensity. Once you get that down, proceed to the second part of the video. All right, so now we've got this emphasis. Let's do an emphasis on the first note of the four-note pattern. It helps to not only emphasize the note that you're going for, but also lessen the volume of your other notes that are surrounding it to make that emphasis really pop. Now let's get that up to speed. And a little faster. All right, so the second note we are going to be emphasizing is the first fifth string. Sounds like this. All right, faster on that first fifth string. So you probably heard me struggle a little bit there. Some of my notes are leaping out when they shouldn't. I need to just slow it down, focus more, and get more control. Let's add just a little bit more speed on that one, and then we'll move to the third note in the series, which is a little bit easier. As you move faster, for me, it starts to become a little bit more natural. I can sort of hear and feel where it needs to emphasize, and then I can kind of shut off parts of my brain that are otherwise interfering with the pattern or me executing the pattern. So it's something to keep in mind sometimes, and you guys have heard me say this before, speed is your friend. Sometimes you just need to go for it. All right, third note in the pattern, this is a little easier. It's your second downstroke. Here we go, nice and slow. Easy enough, let's get it sped up. And fast. So for me, that third note of the pattern is the easiest one to emphasize. It feels very natural. I also use that one in a musical setting all the time. It's my way of sort of answering a melody run or a melody note with an open drone. And I use that a lot in various tunings. All right, let's go to the fourth one, which is pretty tricky. Here we go, the second fifth string in the pattern emphasized. Faster. And let's see if I can get this going faster. That was not the cleanest in the world, but I'm gonna move on. Again, not great, but I'm gonna leave you with that. Let's do the final run through, the real knuckle buster at the end here. That is it. So one of the things, before you guys move on, I'm moving on for video time, but there are a lot of things that I was learning while I was listening to my playing. I'm not terribly consistent or consistent enough with that if I'm staying true to the exercise. And that is another one that one in particular, that emphasized fifth string, that is really musically useful. I do that all the time when I'm playing. It's a way of sort of linking to my next four-note pattern, getting that fifth string to kind of loft over the other notes. I find it really musically useful, and it's probably a little easier for me than the first fifth string emphasis, as you heard. But yeah, so I'm not thrilled with that, but I'm gonna move on for the sake of the video. All right, let's go. All right, so we put it all together. We do something like this. Hopefully I can do this, guys. All right, that is it. Slowly, let's see if I can bring it up to a little bit faster tempo. So if I think about that pattern too much, I'll mess it up. If I don't think enough about it, I will forget where I am in the pattern. So I have to walk this line between thinking about it and not thinking about it. It's kind of a weird Zen thing. And, you know, eventually I'll be able to get that up to faster tempos. Now, don't spend a ton of time on this. This is just a nice warm-up. It's sort of a different kind of warm-up than you're used to. And as important as it is to be able to execute a pattern like this, it's almost more important to be able to know that this idea of displacing emphasis or using emphasis to create certain kinds of grooves and moods, that is more important than the exercise itself. And I think the ear training piece is really important too. Knowing when some notes are leaping out and other notes are quiet, or when they need to be, that can really supercharge your sound and your playing. One of the complaints I hear all the time, especially from beginners, is they'll play through a tune and they'll say, I can't hear the melody. I can't make my listeners hear the melody, or when I play the banjo, the melody is the same value as the background notes or the filler notes or the rhythm notes. And this, if you don't have a insight into making notes loud and making other notes soft, your playing will always have this sort of static quality, this two-dimensional feel. And if you can instead make some of the notes leap off the instrument, and if they're melody notes, that can be really good because it makes the melody pop for the listener. That pulls people in. It makes it distinguishable from the background music that you're playing or the rhythmic filler. And it also lends this three-dimensional quality to your playing. Some of the notes are close and some of the notes seem far away. So just some ideas for you guys to inject your playing with some interest and some character as you're practicing these tunes. All right, that's it for me today. I'm really looking forward to Fiddle Hell. I know a lot of you are going to be there. I'm really excited to meet you. There will be more about that as we close in on the date on Patreon. Thank you so much for joining me for your patron-only video, and I will see you next time on Banjo Quest.